Something that I don't talk about often, it is how I got my calling. When you hear people talk about a calling, you're like, what does that even mean? And it really is something that occurs within you and you become inspired to action to do something that perhaps you would not have been inspired to do. And I happen to be sitting inside of the Hartford Memorial Baptist Church in Detroit, Michigan, with the Reverend Charles Adams, who was for 50 years the senior leader and senior pastor of that church. He was preaching a sermon that he titled Contrary Winds. Actually, it was 7 reasons why we are to thank God for contrary winds in our lives. Pastor Adams talked about contrary forces coming against you. You're being knocked from side to side. The ship is sailing west while the wind is blowing east, stopping your progress. Sometimes contrary winds are the fault of our own. We bring it upon ourselves. Sometimes, he says, it's not the act of our own. Anyone who has tried to be something, do something, or help somebody has had to go against contrary winds. Sometimes opposition is a signal that you're on the right track. No one is going to oppose you for doing nothing. No one is going to stand in your way for saying nothing. He says, so thank God you're doing something right. Opposition is a part of the process. The best things in this world are often a product of a great struggle, a product of those contrary winds. You can be driven off your chosen path and onto a higher purpose, a new path. An action plan comes out of trouble and gives you something to do. As long as the wind is mild, you'll end up where you want to be. But when you're driven off course, you can end up in a blessing you didn't even know you want. So that's my story as well. The storms of life have guided me. The storms of life guided me into church that November of 2003 when I heard this sermon, and my calling created momentum for me to create my own coaching methodology and process. My gifts are about inspiring you to action, to encourage emphatically for someone to do something. And so when you look at my business as the greater advantage, I say that when you integrate your faith into the process, then you do indeed have the greatest advantage.